I don't even know where to start. Maybe some would call what happened to me luck or just a stroke of good fortune, but honestly, I've been dreaming of something entirely different. I never planned for this, never even saw it coming. But, well, life had its own plans. So let me tell you, and you can judge for yourself. Emma and I met when I was already past 30. By that point, I'd been yearning for a happy, cozy family life, kids running around, the warmth of a loving home, the works. Ideally, I pictured myself as a dad to at least 2 little ones, striving to be the kind of father I could be proud of. But my wife, well, she had a different take on things. Kids? In this apartment? Are you serious? Emma would say, rolling her eyes. And anyway, you don't make nearly enough to support a whole herd of them. You know what, Emma? I'd counter, a little frustrated. If you weren't splurging on all your whims and knickknacks, there'd be plenty of money to go around. And as for the apartment, it's not that small. It just feels cramped because it's buried under 2 closets worth of your clothes and all that other stuff you refuse to get rid of. Oh, please, she'd snap back. Maybe if you finally got a better paying job or started your own business, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. Aren't you tired of slaving away for someone else's benefit? She wasn't wrong, of course. I'd thought about starting something of my own, but the problem was always the same. I didn't have the funds to get it off the ground. And then, out of nowhere, fate decided to intervene. Emma's aunt passed away. Sad as it was, her aunt left behind a 3-bedroom apartment and a decent chunk of savings in her bank account. Naturally, Emma was over the moon about this unexpected windfall. And I'll admit, I felt a spark of excitement too. For the first time, I thought, maybe this is it, my chance to finally kickstart my dream business. But things didn't exactly pan out the way I'd hoped. Hold on a second, Emma said sharply, almost offended. My money is my money. What does this have to do with you? You're the man. Go out and earn it. Or what? Were you planning to live off me now? I was stunned. Never in a million years had I imagined our family life would look like this. It felt like we were playing on opposing teams. I was doing everything I could to provide, but Emma? She spent only on herself. Over time, I begrudgingly came to terms with it. What else could I do? Once she had that financial cushion from her inheritance, she quit her job altogether. Suddenly, my wife had all the time in the world to hang out with her friends, hopping from one party to the next. Her appetite for entertainment became insatiable, and honestly, it started to worry me. She'd come home well past midnight, drenched in perfume and booze. Soon enough, there were even sketchy friends in the mix. People she'd go drinking with on the regular. It was a mess. We argued a lot. I tried reasoning with her, tried to remind her of the person she used to be, but it was like shouting into the void. Before long, the Emma I once knew, sweet, charming, full of life, was gone. In her place was someone I barely recognized, bloated from drinking, angry, and constantly picking fights. Her so-called friends stopped coming around. She even managed to alienate the neighbors. Meanwhile, I was stuck listening to her drunken ramblings day in and day out. What do you even bring to the table, huh? Nothing. You're nothing but a poor, pathetic loser. If it weren't for me, you'd still be rotting in some dump. She loved throwing that little gem at me. The breaking point came one evening when I walked into the kitchen and found her sitting there with one of her drinking buddies. They were both half naked, sharing the last of the cognac on Bruderschaft, like it was some great celebration. Oh, look who decided to show up, Emma slurred, glaring at me. Well, don't just stand there. Go get us another bottle while you're at it. That was it. That was the moment I realized I'd had enough. I packed my things and walked out, heading straight for my old apartment. At that point, I felt nothing, no love, no anger, not even jealousy, just emptiness, and honestly, I couldn't care less about what would happen to her or that guy she'd chosen to keep around. Despite everything, Emma started calling me every single day. She'd cry, scream, hurl accusations, and humiliate herself in desperation. At first, I tried to stay calm, but it became too much. Finally, I blocked her number. It was just easier that way, quieter. Then, one day, I got a call from the police. They needed me to come in for an identification. As it turned out, her boyfriend, in a drunken rage, had stabbed her multiple times. The wounds were fatal. At first, I was shaken to the core. The whole situation haunted me, leaving a weight of guilt I couldn't shake off. Maybe I hadn't done enough. Maybe I should have fought harder to save her from the downward spiral she'd fallen into. I never wanted this for her, not even in my worst moments. But life, or karma, perhaps, seemed to have dealt its own form of justice. Legally, Emma and I were still married, so I inherited her apartment. But when I checked the bank accounts, they were completely drained. A part of me couldn't help but wonder, was this our final price to pay? Time passed, and I slowly rebuilt my life. Eventually, I remarried, this time to someone who truly loves and understands me. Her name is Sophia, and she's everything I dreamed of, a real partner, someone I can rely on. Together, we've built a life that feels whole and meaningful. I finally managed to start my own business, and it's thriving. Sophia and I live in perfect harmony, and now we're expecting our first child. Life, after all the chaos, has finally begun to settle into something beautiful.